Alright folks, let's deep dive into the 𝘕𝘳-58-2, the upcoming Tier 9 Chinese heavy tank for token in Battle Pass of 2023. So this vehicle, along with the Kampfpanzer III Project 07HK, will be available for purchase with tokens, but I think this vehicle might cost more compared to the German counterpart, most likely because it's a little bit better. It's like the Cobra is more popular than the 𝘬𝘂 50T, so it costs more tokens, but we'll see. Now funny enough, this vehicle is actually the Tier 7 chassis from the 𝘕𝘳-58, along with a stolen 50 TP's turret from the Polish. It's the same turret, same caliber of a gun, different stats, but small and minute practically, so it's a paper tank. Yeah, it's a paper tank. Polish colleagues at the end of the paragraph. Yeah, that's what you're calling it, huh? Colleagues. Yeah, America is a colleague of China. So it's actually better armored than the 𝘬𝘂 50T. It doesn't suck that hard. So sloped 70mm at the hull front, 70 at the sides, but the 50 TP's turret is pretty strong, other than the commander cupola and the loader cupola on top, but large caliber gun, large alpha, at the cost of dispersion and accuracy, aim time. So this thing is not as accurate as a AE Phase 1 that you could buy in the token shop in Battle Pass, but I think I'll definitely prefer this vehicle over the 𝘬𝘂. Maybe up for debate comparing it to the Object 777 version number 2 or the AE Phase 1, but it's still okay, I guess. So here is the 50 TP's turret. It's the same turret, just different bags and canvas in the back and tarps and other stuff. So small details. They have the 𝘬𝘳 pointing forwards compared to the backwards and sideways of the 𝘬𝘳. But let's take a look at the stats. So 130mm, larger caliber of a gun compared to the Tier 7, obviously. Crew of 4, so fits all your WZs or BZs. But let's take a look at the gun. So 250mm of pin, which is not bad. 520 alpha, a little bit less than the 50 TP, but it reloads faster now. So turret traverse is actually not half bad at about 31.3 degrees per second. 8 degrees of gun depression, 20 elevation, decent. Aim time is alright, 2.88 for a large caliber gun. That is actually not half bad. Accuracy is also not half bad. And they buff the DPM compared to the Supertest version to 2250-ish. Originally it was 1800, which is pretty crap. So they actually buffed it, but it's actually decent now if you actually buff a shell's worth of DPM. Surprising, huh? So shell velocity is 1050 meters per second, and gold shell is 303mm of pin with more shell velocity by 200 meters per second. So it's workable, mostly. I mean, unless you're shooting a mouse or something. And high explosive is high explosive. It deals more alpha, but it's a high explosive shell. Still good. I mean, let's take a look at dispersion before we make any actual judgment on the gun. So moving the turret and moving the hull is below average, but it's no M103s or Conquerors, so you're not getting that 120 smooth laser-like accuracy while turning the vehicle or turning the gun. So it's okay, but I think it's workable. Then let's compare it to the 130 on the 50 TP. So you have less alpha, but better DPM, slightly. So reloads faster, better accuracy, surprisingly, 0.35 compared to 0.38, which is great. And better moving dispersion factors, also pretty good. And a little bit better for turret traverse. And shell velocity is faster. It costs less, but you have less alpha behind it. So it's workable, not bad. I mean, originally it was pretty crap. Originally on the Supertest, it was 17.2 seconds of reload time, which is actually Yeah, 1900 DPM. Not great. The shell velocity did not get changed, as well as the penetration, so that's nice, but yeah, that DPM is bad for tier 9. It's bad for a tier 8, let alone tier 9s, but alright, gun's actually workable. Not half bad. Let's take a look at the armor. So 2000 health, alright. 70 at the hull front, 230 at the turret front, 70 at the hull sides, 160 at the turret sides. I mean, it's the tier 7's hull, but it is a well-sloped 70mm. So if you're hull down with your gun depression, it's somewhat like this, which is pretty hefty. I mean, you do have a large-ass lower plate compared to the 50 TP, but yeah, just try to hide your lower plate. Lower plate is huge, but you do have a strip of 200mm at the beak in the middle. So, alright. Turret front, don't even think about it. 360mm effective to, yeah, auto bounce practically. Mantlet is thick, don't even think about it. You have a commander cupola and a loader cupola, so those are your weak spots. And the hull roof is only 30mm, so you could shot trap from the bottom of your turret into the top of your hull, which is not good. I mean, if you have a tall enough vehicle with gun depression, like a E100, they could face hug and jam a shell into your hull roof. Well, then again, they could just jam it into your commander cupola more reliably, but yeah, that's something to worry about. Also, against artillery shell, that is kind of bad. Yeah, artillery shell hitting 30mm and 50mm for top of the turret. Yeah, kind of bad. It's 100 for the sides. Alright. Side armor is 70. Side scraping is not recommended. Don't side scrape, just hold down. Yeah, don't recommend you doing side scraping. It's not the best. Only 70. That's like Americans, like the T29 for instance, practically. Don't side scrape. Yeah. You have the gun depression. 8 degrees is alright for a large caliber gun of that stature. It's alright. So armor, I would say, is better than the Lorraine 50T, but not as crazy as something else like a Object 777 version number 2 for tokens. So try to hide your hull, especially the lower plate. Alright, mobility wise, weighs about 50-ish tons, 13 horsepower per ton ratio, top speed of 35, reverse of 17. Reverse speed is pretty good. Hull traverse is actually half decent, 31 degrees per second. So comparing it to the 50 TP, faster traverse and faster reverse speed, effective speed for soft terrain, as well as effective traverse, which is better. I mean, then again, it's not as well armored, so it needs the speed and needs the turret traverse speed, so top speed is the same. And it's no, let's see, Object 777 should be slower, yeah, 40 compared. Effective top speed is slower, same terrain resistance, but you have better gun depression. You have a weaker turret. Well, debatable weaker turret compared to the 777. Yeah, 777 has a smaller commander cupola, but it's still a weak spot. So, go back to the 50 TP, I guess. Yeah, not as good armor for the hull compared to the 50 TP, but it's still alright for mobility. Concealment, heavy tank, don't even think about it. 7 is actually better than 5 on the 50 TP, but it's still 7. It's still crap. And spotting is 380 meters of view range. Radio is standard-ish, but yeah, feels a lot better compared to the original DPM. Yeah, original DPM is not great. Every other stat is practically the same. So the weight, the horsepower per ton ratio, it gets 5 more. Kilometers per hour top speed. Oh, that's actually better. Is it 5 more? It is. So better DPM, better top speed, same armor, same health, same view range, same radio. You carry 40 rounds now, I think. No, you still carry 30. Never mind. I thought it was 40 rounds. 30 rounds of 130 is enough if you don't spam too much. Well, then again, yeah, it's easier to spam this shell considering the faster reload to the 50 TP, but just don't spam it too much. With the shell velocity, you could hit your targets more reliably than the 50TP. So yeah, not half bad. Yeah, it's alright. Alright, so let's talk equipments for this thing. I would definitely recommend a rammer. I mean, originally I would recommend a rammer, no doubt, but they buffed the DPM, so not as potent, but still I would definitely recommend a rammer for this thing. It's the same as the 50TP. I kit that vehicle out with vertical stabilizer and vents to help out with the dispersion. Dispersion is not that great, so I would say let's go back to baseline and let's do vents. Let's do vertical stabilizer and rammer. So yeah, it'll definitely help out dramatically with your dispersion factors. Yeah, you need that compared to the better M103 dispersions or Conqueror dispersions. Also help out with DPM and some of the other softer stats like effective top speed and other stuff, or traverse, but a little bit. Oh yeah, you could go with something else, but I think, I mean, unless you're putting experimental equipments, that's a whole different can of worms, but anything with dispersion buff will be much appreciated. Like, you could put this mobility improvement system instead of the vertical stabilizer. I mean, it doesn't help out dispersion that much, but it does help out with the horsepower per ton ratio. I think rammer is just way too important to miss out as an equipment on this vehicle. Rammer is definitely needed. Yeah, definitely. You could switch out the vertical stabilizer for the mobility thingy-majig, or even switch it out for a turbocharger if you're nuts, but I will still prefer, I mean, if you're a free-to-play player, definitely the vertical stabilizer. Definitely. Alright, let's talk about field modifications. So for field mods, for breakthrough tanks, they are practically the same as tier 8, other than the last one. So let's go to this page. It's a little bit better to explain. It's the same practically with the 50TP. So for the first one, better terrain resistance at the cost of durability for your tracks. Now this will help out with your effective traverse and effective top speed. Even though it gives you a negative baseline haul traverse speed, it's not always the case. You have to look up the effective traverse based on your terrain resistance. So always choose this one. Accuracy or aim time. Ooh, I mean, accuracy is good enough. 0.35 is pretty decent for this caliber of a gun, and you're practically a close range to medium range heavy tank, so you could forego some of the accuracy for better aim time. I mean, already did that for the 50TP. Okay, you could do that, or you could do aim time, I think, for 2.88 seconds or 2.8 with equipments. I think that's still a little bit too long for my liking, so I would still prefer better aim time with your field modifications. And third one is obviously no brainer. I don't think you should take artillery shell up the ass. Sometimes there are no artillery, so stun is not even there, so always go with better view range for this one. And finally, better top speed at the cost of aim speed or turret traverse. Better top speed. Better top speed is always good for breakthrough heavy tanks with low top speed. So I think better top speed is very justified in giving up your aim time and a little bit of your turret traverse. This thing already has decent enough turret traverse. Alright enough. And aim time is already good enough. So I would say better top speed. Yeah, better top speed. You don't want to have a -4 kilometers per hour top speed. That is kind of dramatic. So yeah, with all the field modifications, terrain resistance improvement, aim speed buff, which is basically buffing the top speed later on, so negated by the top speed buff. Yeah, you will go with firepower boosting, help out with your dispersion in the second slot. It's not half bad, not really. It was a lot worse with lower top speed and lower DPM in the Supertest version. Definitely worse. So originally I rated the vehicle at 5 out of 10. It was average, it was okay, but average, but now it's a definite 6. definitely a 6 out of 10. Maybe a 6.5 on a good day. It's not a 7. Definitely not a 7. I mean, if it has a better hull armor or no turret weak spot, then we could talk about 7, but it's not a 7. It's a definite 6. Oh hell, I'll feel generous. I'll give it a 6.5. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad now. Only downside I could think of is likely the dispersion while moving the vehicle and turning the gun, but it is practically the same as the 50 TP. Only downside is dispersion and the hull armor. So you have to hide the hull. It's only 70 millimeters. It is sloped, but artillery shell doesn't care about your thickness. So artillery shell hitting the front of your vehicle would suck. So pray to God there's no artillery in your match, especially like 3 of them, or at least 2 of them. But oof, yeah, 6.5 out of 10. It's not half bad, and let's see if we can access the shop of Battle Pass to see how much token it cost. Affirmative. Select your dude or dudette. I'll select whatever. How many tokens do we get? Items for tokens. They could change it. It is only the test server, obviously, so they could change it. It's not even shown. Oh man, that's disappointing. You don't even show it. So they're still tweaking around the stuff. Item for points. Oh, you can get the original skins if you missed out, or the crew members, or you can get bonds, but they don't have the full list. This is not the full list, obviously. Yeah, they don't have the full list. They don't have the actual price. Surprisingly, you could buy a crew member now. I think this guy was a bonus guy from Season 9 of Battle Pass. So you can actually buy it for real money, but now you can buy it for 1 extra token. So if you bought the Battle Pass with actual money, the leftover tokens could be spent on an extra crew member, which is not half bad. It comes with 3 skills. So pretty handy, but only costs 1 token. You can also get the original bounty equipments with your tokens as well, but if we're following the same trend as with last year or the year prior, the only way of getting 2 new tier 9s compared to the rest of the older tier 9s is that you have to buy at least 1 or 2 seasons of Battle Pass with real money, like actual gold. So for last season, for the 𝘬𝘓 50T or the Cobra, I had to buy 2 seasons of Battle Pass. So giving me extra tokens for the 𝘬𝘓 50T, which I hate this vehicle. It has no hull armor whatsoever, and it's big. Or the Cobra, which is a niche. It's a gold shell sink. It forces you to use gold shell. Oh, I hate that about a vehicle. Otherwise, high explosive anti-tank has no shell velocity. So that's the only downside. But it looks like we don't know the actual token count or token cost for these vehicles. So for now, it's up for debate. But I'm putting my money on the BZ as the higher cost compared to the Kampfpanzer, the German S-Tank. But I'll say this vehicle is 6.5 out of 10. It's not half bad. I'll definitely play this vehicle over the 𝘬𝘓. Definitely. Well, there we go, folks. What the hell is a BZ58-2? And for the next video, we'll take a look at the gigantic, for some reason, the German S-Tank, which is surprisingly big. Yeah, surprisingly, it should be like half the size with the 𝘬𝘓-𝘗𝘳. It's not, it's pretty huge. So we'll take a look at this next time. But as always, thank you guys for watching the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.